Hey everybody, it's Missy, and I am back with another layout for the Paige Evans design team. And our theme this week is stitching. And so I went through the new cut files that have been added to the Silhouette store. These are specific to the Oh My Heart collection by Paige Evans and Pink Paisley. And I chose this one, and I used one of my sketch pens to sketch it out onto some white cardstock. And I'm inspired by the colors in this heart paper that I have obviously already cut into. And I'm going to do some stitching. And so I pulled out colors that matched those hearts because that's the color scheme that I'm going to go with here. I want bright, pretty florals. And so this is going to be a very long process of me poking holes all through this drawing here. I'm just going to use a thumbtack because that's what I have. And I just take my time and poke around every single line you see here until it's finished. It did take some time. I was surprised I did not poke myself in the finger. There was no blood, thank goodness. There you have it. It's all done. By the magic of editing, I've got all the holes poked through there. I've already got some green thread in my needle there, and I'm just going to start with a leaf. I've gotten a couple of green threads out so I can do a little bit of variation in color on the leaves, and I've got some pink, some yellow, some orange, and some blues, and I just want to recreate the colors that are in that heart paper. And so I'm gonna do this first. I haven't even really picked out a picture yet. I just know in our assignment was stitching that, and I realized that the cut files had just been added to the Silhouette store. I thought, okay, I've got to use one of those cut files and make it into something that I can stitch. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it took me quite a while, I'm not going to lie, but that's okay because I love doing this. It's fun. I'm going to speed this up here. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing because that is very boring to watch. So I got this one leaf done, and then I thought, I'm going to color on this with my gelatos, and so I should probably try this before I add all that stitching on the inside of the leaf because it's very intricate, lots of little holes close to each other, and so I wanted to color all of this in. So I'm going to use my gelatos here and just a little bit of water and smudge it around right inside here where I've already got that stitched. And I've got all those colors pulled out of there from my gelato stash. And I'm just going to mix and match, try to create a little bit of shading in the leaves just to make it a little more realistic and give it a little more depth. It doesn't have to look perfect, and it's okay if I go outside the lines. I'm going to go ahead and try to get some of these leaves done here. And I don't want it to be solid green. I like that there's a little bit of, sketchy white showing through. I just want it to look kind of painted and messy and a little abstract at the same time, but also the shading gives a little more of a realistic look, I guess you could say. And I'm just using a tiny bit of water there, just barely dipping my finger in it, just to allow the gelato to smudge around. And I did not use any gesso or anything like that because I wasn't intending on using a lot of liquid. And I'm not. This is not ruining the paper. This paper actually doesn't warp at all. Because I'm using just a tiny bit of water. And the gelato will smudge without the water. You can get some really fun texture from the cardstock using the gelatos because you can see the texture really nicely. And it turns more into like a watercolor when you add a little bit of water to it. So it just depends on the look you're going for. And I just added a little bit of water there just to kind of get the smudging going. So I'm going to have pink, yellow, and blue, or turquoise aqua, I guess you could say, because those are my favorite colors. And when I think of bright flowers, those are the colors that I think of. And those colors are all throughout the Oh My Heart collection. And I am going to wind up pulling in a few pieces from Take Me Away also. This is a fun way to, if you want to try mixed media on a layout, this is a fun way to try it because it's controlled, it's not messy, and you're not really using a lot of water. There's no splattering and there's no dripping. It's just a very controlled way to do it. And it still looks artsy, but it's in little increments. So I'm going to go back to stitching. I'm going to try to get the inside of this leaf done and see what that looks like. And I'm just doing a simple back stitch. I think that's what that's called. I'm not a professional stitcher or sewer by any means, but I do enjoy it. I'm still going here. I've got another leaf done. Oh, I've got 3 leaves done, and now I'm going to work on that pink flower. And so I've got the outline of it done, and then I'm going to go in each of the petals and do up and down with the detail. Oh, look, it's all done. Woo, 3 days. 3 days. Did you see that? I worked on this over the course of 3 days. Not from, daylight to dark, but whenever I had my scrappy time, I was constantly stitching. And so I got it done. I'm so excited, and I love how it looks. I picked a picture. I'm going to use this really cute picture. It's of my daughter in a pink dress in springtime from, 5 years ago. But it matches this perfectly, and it really comes across as a spring layout or a spring picture, and I think it matches this perfectly. So now I got to go back in and finish the leaves that I did not paint earlier, and I'm just using a teeny tiny brush, some gelatos of green kind of mixed together, and I'm just messily painting in what I've got here. And I've got a bunch of washi tape stuck on the back to keep all those threads in place. It looks terrible, but I'm not going to show you the back because the back doesn't matter. Where did I go? I never just leave my desk. Oh, there I am. I usually edit that out. I'm sorry. I was looking for my green Keep Palm shimmers. That's what I was doing. I'm trying to get some different greens is what I'm trying to do. I don't want it to be all one color, so I'm going to add a little variation to the yellow flowers and just add some orange. I like things to, have a little bit of depth to them so they're not just one solid color, especially when you have flowers going on. It's fun to paint and it's fun to just experiment, and when this dries, it looks a little bit different. It lightens up, so I kind of come and go with the painting just to make sure it looks okay. So now I'm going to start working on the rest of the layout, and I discovered when I was finished with this that I really didn't I used one little teeny tiny piece of pattern paper, but the bulk of this layout is the stitching and embellishments. I'm going to use some of these floral die cuts from the Oh My Heart ephemera pack. I felt like the right side of the layout was done, and I needed to work on a little bit of floral design on the left. I'm going to use that really cute pink frame as a layer, and then some of these florals over here on the left. And I really didn't want to do anything else to the right of the page. Those florals stand out by themselves. I didn't want to mess that up or take away from it by adding anything else to that side. So it's going to pretty much stay. Now that yellow and white stripe frame is from the Take Me Away ephemera pack, and I'm going to use that for a little pop of yellow. I am going to add a little bit more of some gelato work over to the left, just to kind of have something interesting on the background peeking out from behind the picture and those flower die cuts. I'm going to use my gelatos, a little bit of my shimmers product here, just to try to mimic the colors that I've got going on the right. And again, I didn't want to use too much liquid because I really didn't feel like it needed a lot of mixed media since I've already got the stitching thing going on over on the right. So I did a lot of just dry smudging with my finger and the gelatos just to give it some shading and a little bit of color. Added just a tiny bit of water, but just enough to get it going and to get the colors kind of blended together. And it does take me a while sometimes to decide, what die cuts to use or what chipboard pieces to use, because everything is so cute and everything is so colorful, but at the same time, I don't want something to take away from all this work that I've put into this background already. So in the end, it winds up being, I would say, more of a minimalist look as far as embellishing goes. And I felt like the white background was the best choice because I knew that I wanted to use a lot of color and I really wanted it to stand out. And so I didn't want to do this on a pattern paper. I thought it might be a little too busy. So that's why I just went with the white. So I'm going to stick that yellow and white stripe frame back there just for a fun layer, little pop of yellow. This is from the Oh My Heart chipboard stickers, and it's just a little floral bouquet. I'm going to use that in the background. And then I'm going to use this yellow and shiny gold flower. That's from the Take Me Away chipboard. And I wanted a pop of yellow over on the left, so I knew that that sticker would be perfect. And now I'm just going to look through a couple other things. I'm going to look through the sticker book. I'm going to look through the dimensional die cut stickers. I believe those are from Fancy Free. I don't wind up using any of those. I am going to use one of the little puffy stickers from Oh My Heart right there, just to kind of have something overlapping the picture. I think that gives it a little more depth, but it doesn't take away from anything in the picture. And then I'm going to stick the bottom part of that frame that I cut out right there on the bottom. Now this is the only pattern paper I use. If you remember my last layout where I had all those flowers against the blue painted background, this is the paper that I had left. It's paper number 13. And I felt like I needed a little pop of orange over on the left. So I'm going to just fussy cut out the orange little flowers that I had left on that paper and just layer those in over on the left. And then I'm going to start to come in with some more pops of color, and I'm going to do that with my thread. And I'm going to use some of the blue aqua color. And I realized I hadn't added foam to my picture, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick so I know what I'm working with here as far as dimension goes. Thread on the left, and in person you can see this a lot better, but it does add a nice little pop of blue over there on the left and the right. So I'm going to start to glue all this down, make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And there's one of those tiny little orange flowers that I cut out. So definitely save your scraps, because I thought I was done with that paper when I created my last layout, but I saved it. And I'm glad I did, because otherwise I would have had to have found another orange flower, or I would have had to cut into another 12 by 12 paper. And there was no need for that, just for a couple of little tiny flowers. And so that worked out. All right, so I'm going to get everything glued down. I added some yellow thread down to the bottom, and I am going to add a little bit of splattering in pink over on the left. Not too much. I don't want to get things, like I said, too busy, and I don't want to mess up the right side. I'm going to add just a little bit of pink splatter over here. My poor Subway napkin has seen better days, trying to get the most out of it. So then I thought, what am I going to do for my title, and where am I going to put it? I didn't want to get too crazy or too long, so I just decided on the word bloom. I felt like it matched the spring theme perfectly, and it matched the beautiful flowers on the right. And I had to fight with them for a little bit to get them straight, just because they kept sticking to my finger. So I got those glued down, and I did decide to add just a tiny bit of blue splatters on the right, but that is it. That is the only thing I added over there, because I love how it looks as is. I added a couple of lines using my T-square ruler and then some journaling, and I do add the date stamp, and that is it. I love how this turned out. I think it's simple, yet it's very detailed, and it did take me quite a while to do it, but I think the result is worth it. I love the hand stitching. I definitely recommend it if you have some time and you don't mind doing this kind of thing. I think the result is just beautiful. So I love how this turned out. I'll definitely do hand stitching again, but I'm going to give my hand a break because it did get kind of sore. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions about any of the techniques I did or the products, anything about any of these collections. So check out Paige Evans' blog. I have it listed below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.